All right, so today, it's been a lot going on the past couple of days, past couple of weeks. Um, today I kind of was thinking, with the Steve Harvey, for example. What do y'all think of him meeting with Trump and his mannerisms and actions lately? Do you consider it Cooning, or you think he's trying to engage with the new administration?
I'll go first. I'll probably be the different voice here. I don't think that he was coming. And here's why. Did anybody hear his response
on the radio?
On the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to send it out to some of y'all.
I listened to it.
And to me, it makes total sense what he said. So basically, in a nutshell, what he said was he was invited to meet with Trump. He said he really didn't have any expectations. He just said he wanted to go see what it was all about. So he said he went, he met, he was cordial. He said he was friendly. Mm-hmm. He said he sat down. And what I respected about the whole thing is he said when he sat down at the table with Trump, Trump said, "What do you want? How can I help you and your people?" Now, from any of the administrations, even a black one that just left, which we'll touch on that another day, I have not heard that from anybody. Now, I'm not Trump apologist or anything like that. But to me, that meant something. To me, you're asking me what I want.
Well,
go ahead.
I think people are calling it Cooning because of Steve Harvey's track record. Mm-hmm. And I think it's suspicious because of Steve Harvey's track record. Now, I'm not going to shit on Steve and say he doesn't do a lot for the community. He has his programs and things like that, but he also allows himself to be used as a tool for people's agenda. Like Paula Deen is a prime example, right? Paula Deen everything about Paula Deen has come out basically as racist, right? And there's no denying it whatsoever, right? And people gave him a hard time for putting him on the show. I don't give him a hard time for that. He's a talk show host. You know what I mean? You could have the KKK on the show and stuff like that. My issue,
real quick before you go on, what happened with Paula Deen?
Paula Deen was caught talking about using the N word, and then she was talking about how she wanted to do a wedding reception, and it would be cute because we could do it like the old slave days. We could have the niggas dress up like slaves, and they could wear bells, and it was just some real
every antebellum thing.
That's
a throwback to how things used to be and should be.
And the thing is, it's fully embraced. It's like she's just a good old Southern racist, and people are like, well, she old. This and I ain't got shit to do with it. Right. You know what I mean? Racist is racism. You can be born, you can be 5 years old and be a racist. Or you can be 50 years old and be a racist. You can be, or you cannot be. You know what I'm saying? So age, I don't really get that as a ticket. But my issue with the Paula Deen and Steve Harvey thing is him bringing her to his boys' camp, to let her be a mentor.
Right.
Yep.
You can't let.
How you gonna let a racist?
When you have a known clear racist, basically. Completely outed. You don't put them. Black people got to stop putting racist people around their kids. I don't give a fuck what the paycheck is and how who asked you. I mean, we got to stand for something, and you don't let black boys be put in a room with a bitch who is clearly fucking sees them as beneath her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And especially at an age where they're vulnerable and in a environment where it's all about absorbing from the people that are speaking to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You brought this woman down here to mentor black kids knowing that she's the fucking racist.
Right.
That's not cool.
Yeah. And then I'm sorry, just to jump on to that point, because you're putting someone in that position, and that's why, going back to Steve Harvey, why I can't agree with him going to see Trump, because one, he said he went there with no expectations. You need to understand that Trump is, if not anything, he's been he's a businessman, so he has an outcome that he wants to have happen at the end, which is what he got, which is a photo op from all these black guys that he got. Also, I would say, Malcolm X spoke to it. Why is it when you want to talk to black leaders, you go to an entertainment? But if white people, that would never happen. They never if a white people, you know what I'm saying, and speaking on actually getting an agenda or a policy that they want to have happen, would not have give me Ben Affleck go and represent their interests.
Right.
Exactly.
Steve Martin.
That's a little, because I'm gonna say the difference between Steve Harvey and other people is Steve Harvey is doing things in the community.
Mm-hmm.
He has his boys club. He brings people down to his ranch and he mentors the boys. So it's a little, but I understand what you're saying. I still wouldn't use entertainers, but we had entertainers like Sidney Poitier. Them people was dead in. They was dead in it, but they entertainers.
Harry Belafonte.
And Harry Belafonte. They in the struggle. They doing things.
But
so
that's
it's little.
But I would say, I mean, but they actually went and found out about what's happening in the issues and then educated themselves on the issues to make a positive
But Steve can say he was doing the same thing.
Steve Harvey, if you watch him all the time, even on his Family Feud, it's a little bit of a little buck.
Yeah, just like the I don't give a damn.
Hey, I ain't gonna fight. Steve dances the line. Right. Steve dances the line.
So with that being said, how is he now going to be looked at? For me, wouldn't accept. I mean, no one should have one leader anyway. I mean,
exactly.
You should have diverse opinions.
Right.
But I don't see that as being someone who is a legitimate person. I see him as a person. Hey, you go get your money. That's an opportunist thing. But I don't see that as being magnanimous, being benevolent, and want to.
But the thing is, it's not even just Steve Harvey. Every black person that Donald Trump has met with, the whole black community immediately says that they're.
But you know why?
They immediately says that they're cooning.
Right.
I think that it's a poor choice of people that he's decided to meet with.
Well, that's the thing.
But that doesn't mean that they're cooning just because they accepted the invite.
Well,
we overuse the word coon.
Yes,
we need to get rid of that word and come up with a new one because everybody is, I don't like what he's doing. I wouldn't do that. You a coon.
Well, the thing is don't let yourself be used.
Positioned.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what the celebrities have to understand is that, okay, if I'm gonna come see you, I'm not taking any pictures.
No. What I would.
But you know what I'm saying?
This is what I would do. I would say, you come to me.
That's what I said.
I'm not coming to where you can do your little photo op. You come. Let's meet here.
I'm not
or a neutral.
That's what I'm saying. Let's meet at this spot here.
And then
I bring someone like a Claude Anderson, like a Boyce Watkins, like
Michael Air Dyson,
you know what I'm saying?
Mark Lamont, somebody.
Even Michelle Alexander.
Michelle Alexander.
Michelle Alexander.
The whole thing is Trump is puppeting the black community by bringing in people that are basically what we consider to be just entertainers. And they know we consider them to be just entertainers.
I don't think people consider Jim Brown.
I was just saying, even though Jimmy Flaw, he has this stuff.
Jim Brown
Jim Brown. History is solid.
But here's the thing: Jim Brown is older, and Jim Brown has been chilling for a while. He's not in the fire right now.
But everybody was calling Jim Brown a coon when he went there.
And I don't think he's right.
But a lot of people defended Jim Brown. I didn't see people calling.
I seen a lot of people do that.
But I would say,
they called it coon.
But it's because of the history.
Right.
Because Ray Lewis was there, and I would on my terms, I'd be like, you a coon. Fuck you, bitch. Because Ray Lewis a bitch.
Now Ray Lewis.
But Jim Brown is the man.
Right.
So it's a difference on your history.
Yeah.
The shit Ray Lewis said about people. He turned his back after he had killed somebody down in Florida, and everybody had his back. Now you the shit.
Right.
Now you don't do that in the NFL.
now you're holier. Now you're holier than he's holier than that.
That's coon shit.
But I don't think the whole thing is us. We can all agree that all of these people do some fucked up stuff, and I can't get behind 99% of them.
Right.
But if the question is, are they cooning by going to meet with him?
No.
To me, the answer is no.
The answer is no for me too.
He is selectively picking who he's going to meet with, but that's him, not them.
Yeah, but don't let yourself be you.
Exactly.
You gotta be
because you've been living in America your whole life, and you know how this thing goes and how perception becomes reality, and knowing what this man has been done throughout his life. I mean, I don't want to speak on the well, I'm gonna have to say, I mean, this is after knowing this man has put Jeff Sessions as his attorney general. This is after knowing that he's putting the guy Bannon, Breitbart, is his chief strategist on communication, which is going to be in charge. That's after knowing these things. Now, if you know these things, I mean, you have to, like, I agree with you, Ed, when you said if we're gonna meet, because you do need to meet with your enemies. I understand.
Exactly.
Bring people who are experts in their knowledge, and then, like I said, and then you need to engage him to say, are you really about this? Because I'm not going to kiss the ring.
Yeah,
I think that's what it. That's what it looks like. You got to go up here to Trump Tower. We're at Trump, and then outside you're looking like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, but black people too. We got to understand when we're not smart enough to help a situation. You know what I'm saying? You can go to him and say, I want to stop the crime in the black community, and he'll go and get 1,000 niggas locked up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know when you're not smart enough and not play with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't play with it because the things you say can be used as the excuse to fuck your people even further.
But that might be why he's selectively picking these people that...
Yeah, that's exactly why he's doing it.
These people
he's trying to be the smartest person in the room. At all times. That's what he's trying to do. And he's an idiot.
For this, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. But also I would say, I am happy about this Coon. I'm happy about this Coon shit, and I'll tell you why. There's never been anything in place to give consequence to black people selling black people out.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Social media, even if it's going above and beyond, social media is giving us at least a small way to make a motherfucker think about his actions before he does
Put
it.
some heat on.
And that's good.
Yeah, but it has to be
good.
It has to be accurate.
No,
Right.
But it has to be calculated.
You got a bunch of misinformed,
that's true.
I'm woke niggas
Absolutely.
talking about this, that, and the other, and preaching it as the gospel when it's just your fucking opinion.
They talk about it as an absolute,
Absolutely, but
everything they say is absolute.
When you know you've done right, it won't fuck with you the same way as when you know you fucking selling out. So if you gonna be slammed, you know what I'm saying? And then too, if you done right, that's gonna come to the light. You know, so if you it's good to make black people have to think and not just photo op. And not just fucking get a buck.
For
You know what I'm saying? And it's something. We need something in place. We don't control the money. We need something in place to punish people for selling out.
I mean, fuck, black people don't punish people for doing anything.
Right.
But to me,
You let white people, you let white cops kill your kids. You don't do shit.
exactly.
So we ain't did nothing.
but to me,
So we can't hold his feet to the fire like, hey, we all fucking up too. Everybody.
Right, definitely. But to me, it's almost like it's a distraction from what's really important.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we don't know what's really important.
That's the problem. We're not even learning what's really important, yet alone focusing on what's really important, because we too worried about fucking Steve Harvey meeting with Donald Trump.
I mean, the people that know it's important, like we said, he ain't meeting with those people.
Right, but
the people that know what's going on, he's not going to meet with
we
them.
putting our energy into versus figuring out how we can rise up financially and get financially literate and buy the hood up and build a future for ourselves. We outraged about bullshit. And we more outraged when our own people than, like you said, when a white person do some shit.
I think speaking of your point, like, because we had a conversation and you offers an alternate perspective on it, made me think about things in a different way. But like what you were saying with Steve in terms of, I sat down with Trump, we met man to man, so to speak, and he asked me, what do you want for your community, or however it is he worded it, right? And, that's great, but those are just words. Let's look at his actions, like who he's putting in place. A guy, Jeff Sessions, who was considered too racist 20 years ago to be a fucking judge. Now you make this dude, what is he, the attorney general? He's the
head judge.
He's the head of the whole shit now. So let's look at his actions. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Trump, we can sit down and you can look me in my eye and be sincere, be cool, and the cameras is away and you act like a normal person and not a rabid animal.
But actions speak louder than words.
And that's what we have to. That's what he should have said when he came down and gave the interview. We talked, and that's all it was. It was a conversation. We'll see what happens.
With Steve out the way,
talk.
When you think about Martin Luther King's son on his father's holiday meeting with this motherfucker.
That's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like
that's from.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The kids, I mean, it was
coons.
No, I mean, a lot of things.
They're honestly coons.
That one is.
But a lot of things happen. They had just been.
But we got
the infighting they've been having. It's just.
But we got
it's sad.
You know this motherfucking Malcolm X kids will never be invited up there.
We got to understand this though about black.
That's just to be
black revolutionary children.
She don't be playing.
Black people didn't take care of them.
No.
They dads gave their lives to black people, and black people let them niggas live in the poorhouse.
Every last one.
So you got to understand, as a child, your dad, everybody you walk up to tells you your father is great, but then they watch you fucking get evicted from the house. That might do something to you.
Right.
I'm not making excuses for them, but we can't.
But that's our fault again.
Yeah, but we can't expect them to be what their father were when we didn't put them up and give them a fucking community to back them up when their father got slain. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not gonna shit on him. I'm not gonna even shit on, like, they're talking about Chrisette Michele performing. right? Now, the thing about Chrisette performing and people shitting on it that bothers me is that those same people will call Dorothy Dandridge and Josephine Baker heroes, right? When they played for white people in clubs where they couldn't even shit and piss outside.
Right.
Now, I've always said they should have never fucking played there. I've always said I believe in Ray Charles' theory, so I don't necessarily say she should have done it, but I'm not gonna shit on her and not shit on
everybody else. You know what I'm
saying? So black people gotta understand: is it Coonan because it's 2017? Or was it always Conan?
Right.
And if you know, Eartha Kitt and Dorothy Dandridge and all of them ain't coons, then fucking Chrisette Michelle can't be a coon either.
I think it do come down to track record too, though, because the statement she made, kind of that statement she made last year, that she fell into that All Lives Matter bag, and you know, and essentially, like, she made this really long Instagram post where she prefaces it by saying, "I'm no political genius," I think is the hashtag she used.
But then went on
to say some real naive, silly shit. And my issue with, we all know All Lives Matter is shut up, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's that's what it is. It's a response to the Black Lives Matter statement, right? Now, with that said, what I don't understand is when black people argue that point and say, "Well, all lives matter." That's like me saying, "My brothers, y'all lives matter. Y'all mean something. Y'all important to the world. And y'all argue with me about it." That's what that, I don't get that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I don't understand. It's a double-edged sword for me. See, like, we just said that why as actors and athletes, why do we take them serious? And then here again, she's just doing a fucking job.
She needs some money.
Right, she needs some money.
Album in a long time.
Right, she's not smart. Who deemed her smart or any athlete smart? Traditionally, do we think that athletes are stupid? So why now do we hold her accountable for these political stances? She be trying to make some money.
Oh damn, we dead.
What is Ja Rule thing?
Where's Ja Rule when you need him?
That's a very good point, but I would say anytime though that you are put in a position where you have high visibility, you need to always be cognizant of what you say.
Yeah, but we did.
But like I said, with that being said, just in period. But like I said, it doesn't make you a policy maker. But what I'm saying is just when you have an audience, know that what you said does matter. That's all. That's what I think.
I mean, it does, but
because if it didn't matter, why did she make the statement?
Because
she's stupid.
They forced her
Listen,
to.
how many of these?
They forced her to.
How many of these athletes?
I like the way he said it, because she's stupid. That's just what it is.
How many athletes do you hear on post game interviews who can barely put a paragraph together?
Right.
And you mean I'm supposed to take their opinion seriously about something serious?
But unfortunately, in America, the way this shit is set up, we give entertainers and athletes.
Black people do.
Even white people do.
White people do.
I mean, that's how
That's why it's such a big deal when Ashley Judd says some shit to Dixie Chicks. They pay attention to all of these motherfuckers.
It's black people.
Everybody does that.
White people.
No, because white people will. So white people go and slam Ashley Judd or somebody else to speak against it.
Yeah.
You know, the racists that come out and they smashing them. We gonna protest your shit. So they take that shit serious too.
They listen to it.
I mean, it goes all the way back to think about even Reagan was an actor and he became president. So celebrity has been a strong thing for. I mean, that's more to speak to American values.
Infatuation with
celebrity that are misplaced because of that fact. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronald Reagan.
It's some other ones, Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Nigga, he was a wrestler.
But and he was a Marine. Marine wrestler.
Fucking California.
Yeah.
He was Minnesota. He was Minnesota.
Yeah, he was.
So, but let me say this.
Hold on.
Let me say.
Any sense was Kaepernick.
The only thing I say about what Steve should have done was watch the history of the people who came down that elevator. The main one to me, I would have watched when I seen it is Kanye. Why ain't Kanye perform at your damn inauguration? He's supposed to be your boy. You needed somebody to perform. Why ain't Kanye invited? Because he don't think shit about Kanye. The same way he don't think about your ass.
Well, they did have a
Come
follow-up.
on, man.
Well, bro, they had a follow-up question asking about that, and they said we're going for a traditional American inauguration,
which means none of that hip hop nigga shit. That means
Honestly, he's talking about a 75-year-old white man. He don't give a fuck about Kanye or none of that.
And this is what I'm saying.
You heard him play Frank Sinatra, and he said, "You motherfuckers, I'm about to do this my way." Early in the game.
But why would he care about Steve Harvey then?
Well,
That's the question you had to ask yourself. Why would he care about me?
But
why would he care about what I want?
Because he wants the votes in this next election. He know he
Stop being
could be
used as
for
a
now.
pawn.
Right.
That's
And that's the point.
And that's the simple point. Do not allow yourself to be positioned for a photo op.
If that comes
And allow
that raccoon.
Oh, the raccoon.
That shit was funny, man.
Whoever came up with that.
It is funny.
Whoever is the originator of that.
Got nothing to do.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel bad for Steve though. But when he came down and the cameras were there, you can see Steve's face. He was like,
Bro, I know
God
somebody.
damn,
I know somebody.
You can
like,
see it in
oh,
his
you
face.
gotta
He was
do
like,
this.
they fucking
They
got
showed
it.
him the comments like
Okay, so let's go through the ones I'm aware of that he's met with. Kanye was first, I believe, right? He
No,
was
I
ridiculous.
thought Jim Brown and Ray Lewis was
all
first.
together, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They were pretty
Kanye
close
was
together.
first.
Okay.
They was like the next day or the day after.
Okay.
And they came together, and then it was
MLK.
it was Steve Harvey. It was a long stretch of nobody, if I'm not mistaken. Then it was Steve Harvey. Then it was
Okay.
Dr. King's son.
Even Soulja Boy was after that.
And we know we trust everything that nigga said.
Floyd met with him too.
Yes, he did.
Floyd met with him too.
You know, I would say though.
And that nigga sucks too.
Yeah, he's awful. But I would say,
He's just a boxing gym.
like I said, I would be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I think we've downplayed actually. Trump is very actually conniving in a bad way. Evil way. He's an evil genius because he knows the distraction. It was bad publicity coming out with the whole Russia thing with the golden showers, and he's been able to distract from throwing the light off of him on the other people. I think that part too is
That's a skill.
It's
He doing it well. He doing it well, don't he?
Listen, I want to tell y'all too. Now, don't get it wrong. I believe he has a lot to do with this, but it's not necessarily all on him. You got to look at people behind him, and even coming up to with his cabinet. A lot of these people, he not saying, I want him because he's gonna do this. You have to look at the people behind the king. You can't always look at the king maker,
The real money.
right?
Look, ultimately, you gotta understand America is a fucking company.
Yeah. And it's a wicked ass.
Right. They a fucking company and they ain't gonna do shit for us. And that's why I don't give a fuck about politics.
Yeah.
I don't know why people care. I don't care.
But
I mean, is it on the federal side?
Yeah, but
state and local, I understand why you do things.
I mean, even when you get up to that level, you just gotta have enough money to affect what happens when you get to that
policy.
level.
Yeah,
right now, we ain't even got local money.
Right.
We got local money.
We got local money. We just don't
Then we get federal money.
We got nominated money.
Then we get world money.
I think policy is definitely important because
affect our damn
The
streets.
superintendent of school and that shit.
there you go. Because the policy is important because the policies and procedures is how you operate. And as we just said, it's a corporation, it's a company, right? When y'all got companies and y'all got policies and procedures, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, and there's gonna be an outcome from that. So the policies that are in effect for black people, black Americans, disenfranchise us disproportionately. So I feel what you're saying because I felt the same. Like I don't give a fuck about politics, but and I think a lot of us feel that way because it's like
So
you feel hopeless.
we're hopeless. It's like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
powerless.
But see, that's also because we don't have any money.
Yeah.
Once you get enough money, then you create what happens. I
Right.
guarantee.
Then politics the shit.
The one nigga that is the head of Monsanto got more political power than every nigga in Cleveland combined.
Right.
Even if we put all our money in together,
Yeah.
it's just the way it works.
That's what Claude Anderson say all the time, right? And then his steps.
I do have a question also because there was a lot of brothers and sisters that was during the election time when we had these talks and all of this was saying stuff like, well, you know, fuck Hillary, you know, I don't care who win and all of that. These same people is like, oh shit.
Right. Now they like, oh shit.
Shit don't win.
Uh-huh.
Look who he's putting it off. Oh, this nigga in the KKK. Remember, it was the lesser two evils and all this shit. And I don't care if Trump wins.
It was never that to
but
me.
now that Trump wins, the same people that were saying they didn't want Hillary to win is calling every nigga that meet with Donald Trump a fucking coon.
But I got a question.
Nigga, you need to make up your mind.
I got a question. You don't already think that the Klan is already infiltrated integrated into government.
They are.
They already there.
But you're still
are.
Like he's
outraged at the
racist.
cabinet
For
picks.
real? A racist president. Oh my God.
Right.
It's fucking America.
Right.
I'm about to say all the other 43 was racist.
Maybe one was, and that's a fucking maybe.
Maybe we're right, maybe.
Maybe one was.
But
Shit.
even if you scroll down one of your social media timelines, you're gonna see the same people that were saying fuck Hillary.
Yep.
Donald might not be so bad.
Now they
Fuck
upset.
that bitch shit crook and all of that.
Yeah.
It's like fuck these KKK people that he putting in there. You need to make up your mind.
And then she's a crook about what? What did she steal?
She is fucked stuff.
Hillary,
Trust,
oh, yeah.
now.
What did she steal?
She's robbing Haiti right now.
Yeah.
What they got to do with us, per se, in America?
They black. They
No,
black.
I understand that, but what they got to do with us in America?
Locking
They mad about she's stealing shit from Haiti. Okay.
Shows character.
Okay, so what? Now what is Donald Trump doing? What is he about to do? He about to rip the motherfucking government off.
He about to rip
He's still controlling companies while he's the president.
This dude to change.
So now he's a crook too and a racist.
But he
That bitch probably was a racist too, but still.
oh, that's probably about it.
Well, I would say,
But still, you know what I mean?
I would say that
I
Donald Trump is more dangerous because he, like if you just watch
Because
his
of the
step-
following, I think.
I think
It's
it's
following, and
the same.
Same.
bird.
No, but like I said, but the thing is, like I mean, I guess you can look at it one or two ways because he's uncovered all of these racists and they're out in the open. And even when I'll be honest with you, in my dealings after the Trump presidency or after the election, the way some people were kind of looking at me, it was a difference from the day before. Like, yeah,
We won.
yeah, we won,
Look.
we did. I mean, so
To me,
so I
like,
mean,
In your face.
Yeah.
In your face.
And that's what they want to say. You be like, I don't care.
To me,
What you want to do? I'm
getting attacked in your sleep, and Donald Trump is waking up and seeing the motherfuckers at the top of the hill.
Right.
It ain't no different to me.
Yeah.
Still, you know what I'm saying? And I think black people need to see these motherfuckers at
For
the
what
top
they
of
are.
the hill.
Right.
You know what I'm
Let
saying?
me see my
we keep
enemy.
acting like we had a chance with Hillary. We ain't got no fucking chance with Hillary. We are bleeding out, man. They can always say black people are doing better, but what does better mean when you change the narrative of shit and you change the definition of everything? We fucked up right now, man. Our families are fucked up. Our children are fucked up. Our unity is fucked up. Our income is fucked up. Our households are. I mean, everything about black is fucked up.
I mean, speaking of Hillary,
Band-Aid off that shit.
speaking of Hillary, she did the same thing Trump is doing now. She just did it before.
What?
Going on black radio shows, talking about she got hot sauce in her bag. All that shit is what Trump
No,
doing
that was-
now.
yeah, that
It's
was-
all the
you see
same
that?
thing.
And
I don't think it's the same thing though.
And that
Yeah, man, she was kowtowing trying to get black votes.
The incarceration shit, I never get over. I never let that.
That's the
shit
worst
go.
shit. To what?
A million black people getting put in jail under Clinton. I never say I wanted to see what
That-
he was going to do.
Plus, I don't think that's the same thing because anytime you got a candidate trying to get elected, they come to the black people trying to win you over. Donald Trump doesn't have to win black people over right now because he's the fucking president no matter what.
And that's fine.
He got some reason to be meeting with these niggas, but it ain't to win us over. He's putting blatant racists in the position.
Right.
And again,
He's trying to prove something.
I think
know
we.
what it is.
I don't know what it is. He ain't racist. I don't know what he's trying to prove.
No,
but-
well, like I said, I think it's more of a distraction from what he's doing. Like watch this hand as I rip,
Right, definitely.
as I rip the guts. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, he's gonna doing a rip.
Yeah,
and
but
run.
at least Donald Trump has more opposition than Hillary would have had.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like, we don't need. Hillary would have just been shitting on niggas. That's it.
Behind the
You know what I'm
scenes.
saying? We'd have been like, open your mouth.
I get
What's in there?
I
You know
get
what I'm saying? But with Trump, you got the gays, you got the Muslims, you got the women, you got the blacks, you got the Hispanics. Everybody hates Trump.
Yeah.
I would
Except
rather
for white men.
everybody hate the motherfucker that's coming after me than nobody hate the
Right.
coming after me.
Right.
Yeah, I'll never say anything.
Forcing us to unify. You got to unify.
Hopefully.
Now, right.
You're right. Well, I was having a discussion with one of my OGs, like right after the election, I believe, or maybe leading up. I don't remember, but it was around that time. And this was the analogy he gave me, because I was telling him like, because I was making that argument, like, what's the fucking difference? Like, you know, it's gonna be more in your face with Trump, and that's better for us as black people than Hillary. He was looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, what do you mean? This is the analogy he gave me. It was at the gym. He said, Trump is the type of. What he say? He said Trump is the type that if you go over to lean over and pick up that dumbbell, you know he's gonna smash you over your motherfucking head with a weight.
Right.
He said with Hillary, I at least may have a chance. That's literally what the fuck he
not
said.
true.
And he preferred
To maybe have a chance.
to make me wonder. I don't know if you're gonna smash me over the head if I lean over to get this.
I want Trump.
That's a very
I'd rather have Trump.
Yeah,
So I can look at you. I can be like, I'm leaning over, but I'm looking.
that's a part
You know what?
Black people love being lied to.
You need to send
You
your
know what I'm
OG
saying?
an email and
love
tell him you can't be my OG no more.
He don't get the OG no more.
Right,
He's like, oh, dude.
You lost. Why would you want to be snuck up on?
Why do you feel that that's a chance?
Because Trump ain't sneaking on you.
This bitch done did this before.
Right.
So you don't have a chance. She already showed you what she cut for.
Right. But the analogy is the mentality of it was you would prefer to. If we got beef and you got a problem with people trying to do me harm, I would rather fucking know
Look,
than to turn my back and you blow my brain. That doesn't make
when
sense to
Bill
me.
Clinton ran for president, he went down to where the Klan was started and had them line up niggas in chains behind him and did photo ops. Do y'all know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, this nigga went to the Klan Capitol,
Pulaski?
had them pull niggas out of the prisons, and it was running on, what did he call it, tough on crime. They gave a tough on crime speech. Let these niggas stand behind
To the
him.
motherfuckers in prison.
No,
Jesus
but
Christ.
the prisoners behind them.
Right, and he gave
And
the
at the
speech.
Klan Capitol,
Right.
gave the speech so niggas could take pictures. Come on, man. I want this nigga's wife
Right.
to fucking be the president next. And then right after that proceeded to put almost 1 million black people in prison
Right,
for some bullshit.
right.
And then I want his wife next
Right.
to go, oh, well, they know that's wrong? Okay, yeah, for real.
So let me ask you a question.
What do you think they're gonna do then in Chicago? Because I see they're gonna use that as a test case on they're gonna
I'm being
suspend
tough on crime. And
tough
all
on
that.
crime. They're gonna suspend habeas corpus, due process,
If-
and martial law, all that thing. I think it's gonna be the test case for all the worst fears.
If we don't find a way as a people to intervene on the behalf of Chicago, they are gonna fuck Chicago up. Black people, just period. They said they had a plan to just lock up 1,800 gangbangers. How the fuck you know what a gangbanger is?
Mm-hmm.
You got a hoodie on.
Black.
Right.
You're a gangbanger.
Yeah, actually.
Your
You
arms
got on
is
red, right?
and you got a cap on.
Right.
You're a gangbanger. How do you just say we're gonna go around with 1,800 gangbangers? You know what I'm saying? So they gonna if but the thing is, when you bring a Steve Harvey there and you say, I want to see the crime go down. You know, like who's the New York cat? Giuliani. He said, I help black people by locking black people up. I mean, that's shit he says.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when white people
And he's
have
still
trouble,
living.
they give them opportunities.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? And so they're gonna jump. They're trying to get people to co-sign the
Well,
saving niggas by destroying
Right.
niggas.
That's definitely what's gonna
mindset.
happen.
And if we don't sit up and say, hey, look, I'm not the guy who you need to talk to, then they're gonna have the little justification they feel they need to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why these motherfuckers got to stop. They got to get off of that arrogant shit, get out the fucking way, and let the professionals handle the fucking job.
Right.
You know.
I personally think that Donald Trump is pulling the wool over everybody's eyes right now. Of course, we're concerned with black people because that's us.
Yeah.
But even all these middle America,
Mm-hmm.
poor white men, and all
Everybody's
that,
about to
killing them.
fuck. Yeah.
Because
Nah, they gonna be
he's
in
making
pain.
them feel proud right now
Yeah.
about some shit that's not gonna
Man,
benefit them.
It's gonna hurt.
Just like you see all these people talking about fuck Obamacare. I got the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
They
Didn't know the difference.
They don't have any true
it's the
leadership.
second phase, yeah.
They just have pride in being white.
Yeah.
And they need somebody to be better than, and that person that they feel that they're better than is niggas.
Right.
So they even getting the wool pulled over their eyes.
Well, I
As
mean,
black people, we
well-
just need to unite ourselves to make sure
Yeah.
they on their own.
Yep.
Well, I would say, the point that you just made, a lot of our former, like if you look historically, have actually brought that point up from even Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Paul Robeson, talked about the false sense of entitlement that white supremacy gives you.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know what I'm saying, by saying that you are white, but then you broke. You don't have, you know what I'm saying, you have no money. They're constantly cutting the wages. They're constantly taking away and moving to the top. Like, I mean, the biggest transfer of wealth has happened over the last 40 years. I mean, from the middle class to the upper 1%. And
They doing a good job of making it think it's black people that's doing it.
yeah, well, I mean, or and they always
Black people taking your money. It's the Mexicans taking your job.
Exactly, and they always
Get the fuck outta
and
here.
they always and they've done a great job of keeping this message going this person taking instead of me, this greedy motherfucker here, that is snatching your shit.
Poor white people don't, to me, in my opinion, don't really get to participate in white supremacy. They're just racist.
Yeah,
but that's
white supremacy is concerned with keeping the white race on top. In order to do that, you gotta have money.
You got to
Well, you got to understand about the goal of white supremacists, of the poor white supremacists, is bring me back to a place where I can still dominate somebody.
Mm-hmm. But they're not getting a chance to.
But that's
the
what
actual people at the top is raping them too.
No, but what I'm saying, not be God. I just want to be somebody's
But
guy.
they're not becoming anybody's
I want to be able to kill.
That's the whole thing that they're complaining about.
I want to be able
now.
to kill a dude and rape a broad and be free. And
that's what they dominate.
That's just their racism, though.
Yeah, but that is white supremacy.
But
in their head, they think it's supremacy.
But that's not lifting them up. Supremacist is supreme. I'm at the top.
Yeah, I know.
None of them ever get the toothless KKK member from Arkansas.
But their supremacy,
he doesn't have a chance to get to the top.
But their supremacy is not about money.
As a group, yeah, it's not about money.
Theirs is not about money. It's about
theirs is just
I'm just better than him because he's black,
which is just flat out racist.
Right? It's not a problem.
It's all a matter of words, but you don't realize that Donald Trump or these corporations and all of that, they're shitting on you too. You're not participating in the same thing.
But I think some of them honestly do, but they know that if we can get this place back to where it was,
it's not possible.
I can exploit, but that's the goal.
That's not possible. They don't benefit for nothing but white privilege.
Huh? Yeah.
Right.
But that's
not supremacy. They will never be supreme. They just have white privilege.
But they don't know that. That's how Donald Trump put it over their eyes, right?
Exactly.
Right.
They don't know that.
I get that.
They have no idea.
You don't get to participate in the American dream like you think you do. You ain't shit.
But their dream is different though.
They don't have a dream.
Some of them dream is just to be able to hang somebody.
Yep. That's all they get.
But that's some of that is their dream though.
That's all they get. They're allowed to be racist.
Yeah, but that's their dream.
That's true, but they still feel supreme. So that's
they feel that way, but they don't make you that way. You got rich niggas that feel supreme.
Right.
They don't make them supreme.
Exactly.
Yeah, but some
are still at the bottom of the totem pole. Your grandkids, your great grandkids are still going to be at the bottom of the fucking food chain.
But they still
and Barron Trump is still going to own your ass too.
Make a wish foundation, baby. I wonder how you thinking before I die.
George Wallace on his deathbed said when he was the governor, all white people wanted to do was feel better than black people. That's still the same. It didn't matter how much money they had or where they lived. That's all they want.
But I think the sooner that we recognize what I'm saying, the sooner we realize that it's not just one thing that we fighting against. We're not just fighting against the powers that they got money. Mm-hmm. You can fight them, but you still gonna have these back alley hits and all of that stuff. That just want to be better than you, and they ain't shit. You know, they're not controlling corporations or nothing like that.
So when it comes to that, so how do we go about farming ourselves up to negate
for
that?
one, actually farming. That's one.
Actually growing your own shit.
Farming, actually hunting, actually learning how to build, and actually taking up arms and training. And being able to defend ourselves. You know what I mean? We gotta have fail safes in place. You know what I'm saying? America statistically should have fallen already. If you look at the wealth gap. Mm-hmm. If you go by wealth gaps in other fallen societies.
Right.
America should have fallen already. The reason we have not fallen is because even our most educated motherfuckers in this country would die of starvation with deer in their backyard if the grocery store ran out of food. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We don't know. We are the most educated, least capable society to ever exist in the world.
Also,
you know what I mean? We cannot feed ourselves.
Also, to add to that point, also, it's not gonna fail because as long as you keep people divided by race, it will be easy.
And sex.
And the sex and all that. It would be easy if all these people we was just talking about didn't want to be better than black people and say, you know what, you broke, I'm broke. This motherfuckers over here raping us. Let's get them. But no, I hate you. You hate me. So
we're a happy family.
So
all we gotta do is keep this motherfucker divided.
So it's a bit of a history lesson, right? I don't know if everybody familiar with the Bacon's Rebellion, but that's what the Bacon's Rebellion was. There was a white dude who wanted that shit, and that white rich dude didn't want him to let him have it. So he went to all the black, poor, everybody and said, "Fuck him. We gonna go burn down his government." And that's what they did. So after that, they was like, hey, we got to split these fucking people up. You got to make white people think they're better than black people. That's where racism started. It wasn't long ago. So that's the power that they use. So the supreme people with money are using racism to keep everybody divided, and the racists are happy to be racist. Right. So they can feel like they're better than somebody.
Example, I think we were talking about that the other day, was the white dude that was on Roland Martin.
Yeah, right.
You know what I liked about that interview?
He fucked up.
Fucking honest about white supremacy. I wish more of them would be honest like that. Yeah. He said we want to remain at the top. Now his historical facts were not accurate, but at least he came out and
they just say anything too.
He came out and said, "This is how we feel."
I mean, but they do. I mean,
it's purple.
That's
what it is.
That's where the word conservative comes from. Conserve what the fuck we have already.
Right.
Conservative.
Yeah. Right. And he's a perfect example of what I mean when I say white supremacist. He ain't no back alley hick.
And I expect them to want to stay on top. If we got on top, we would want to stay on top. And we would kill white people to stay on top.
I'm sorry. It's kind of
catching up. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's real quick. You saw his name Richard Spencer, I think. He got on TV. He got stole on.
Yeah, I saw it.
It was funny as shit. And it was a white dude that hit him too. And that white dude was like, wham!
Right in the ear.
But see, like you said earlier, the whole sleight of hand thing, I do think there's a lot of, white and black, but y'all leaving somebody else who really controls all the wealth. And that's the Jews.
Yeah, that's white too.
White.
That's white too.
That's not what white people think.
Fuck what white people think.
They got their whole.
But I understand what you're saying, but they separate them people.
Right.
But they white when they need to be white.
Right. So ain't like two son-in-laws Jewish or something?
I mean, Italians ain't white, Germans ain't white. Everybody white when they need to be white.
I mean, if we look at
Hispanics,
That's part of Bacon's rebellion. That's what he did.
If you follow the money, let's be honest. You got to add them in there too.
But
because they control the
It's the
wealth.
distinguish between them.
They got the
white.
banks.
Whether you German, Russian, Irish, British, wherever the fuck you is, whatever your nationality is, motherfucker, you white.
They won't say that.
They don't have to, but they plagiarize.
Jews say we are Jews. We white man are white man, and niggas is niggas. And
who'd you get that Judaism from, white man? From the Caucasus Mountains,
right?
And all of that. Where'd you fucking get that shit from? Because at some point, when Christianity and Islam was raging and fighting and beefing, them niggas had a choice, and they chose to choose neither side and went with Judaism. That's how a lot of motherfuckers converted to Judaism. You know what I'm saying?
We gonna steal this religion.
Right.
But you gotta kind of bring it all together, though. I mean, it's good that when we don't all fully agree on topics and stuff like that. But personally, I would say with all the entertainers and people that's meeting with Donald Trump, to me, it's not necessarily cooning. It's just foolish because you're going in there and you don't have a plan at all.
No agenda.
You mean to tell me you're meeting with the most powerful man in the world, and you can't call up your homeboy that's educated in all of these things and say, hey, would you mind rolling with me?
Even if you normally couldn't reach him, you'd be like, hey, I'll meet with the president tomorrow. You could put an email out, and any of us could reach anybody.
Right.
If we said, hey, I'm meeting with the president tomorrow, I need access to...
And these are the outcomes that we want to have happen.
Well, let's hope. And I don't know Steve Harvey personally from...
Well, at the end of the day, the thing is this. Steve Harvey is not self-made, right? And he can... His success, not to shit on his success, but he's not self-made. Mm-hmm. He's basically an employee. It can be snatched from him. You know what I'm saying? Well, so the whole idea of hoping that anybody he's met, all of whom are none of whom are self-made, will do something grand for us, it's pretty far-fetched because they have a carrot to dangle over. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Until it's somebody who owns themselves, I don't expect nothing from any of them. You know what I mean? The moment he starts saying something they don't want to hear, they'll call the next owned, high-paid employee, and just keep the story going. You know what I mean? Until we get to a point where it's like, okay, no matter who you meet with, Michelle Alexander's coming, Boyce Watkins coming, and Claude Anderson's coming.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, until we get to that point, it's kind of like...
That's just the way it's going to be.
What I was about to say is, hopefully, maybe something like that possibly happen. Like, okay, well, this is good. I'd like to continue this conversation, but I would like to bring somebody who's more knowledgeable on this platform than I am myself. So hopefully that is an invitation. I don't know,
because didn't he say after that meeting that Steve Harvey said that President Trump, or Donald, I'm going to call him, Donald is going to put Steve Harvey in charge of some type of...
He's going to put him with...
He got in contact with Ben Carson.
And I will give Trump... I'll give Trump credit for he actually met with Claude Anderson.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
They actually did
No
visit Claude
fanfare.
Anderson. But
No
the
cameras.
I didn't know that.
They didn't take no photos.
Since Claude Anderson was smart. Claude Anderson was like, I'll say that.
Claude had an agenda. Claude had an agenda.
Right.
He's speaking about reparations. You know, Obama's motherfucking administration wouldn't meet with him, wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't fuck with him about reparations. I don't know.
I feel that, but is he going
And see, that's the point that he made.
But hold on. But yeah, we had this. I had that conversation. If we're gonna have this. This is not for media consumption.
Right.
So that's why Claude had. He has. I'm have my agenda that I want to get out.
And that's what it's about.
Right.
This isn't about a photo op.
Right.
Yeah.
When did Claude meet with him? Was it before everybody else?
I'm not sure when.
Yeah,
but
it was before everybody.
So why didn't Steve Harvey say, hey, man?
Right.
He might even know who Claude Anderson is.
My thing is, when I see everybody bashing on this cat,
My bag, I don't know what I was thinking.
Like I said, if that is the case, then that really speaks to why Steve Harvey should not be meeting with anybody.
And then too, you got to know who put you where you at.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Steve Harvey, you started in comedy clubs with a bunch of black folks. What you think meeting with Trump is gonna do when you let them make a photo op out of you? You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be a little smarter just from a business standpoint. That can fuck you up.
But I think in the long run, we have to realize that the entertainers just have an opinion.
And
Everybody
where's your publicist to say, hey, this is what you got to say to keep your core?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't be mad at somebody for being
who
stupid.
raised you?
Right.
Who raised you politically?
Who
you know what I'm
raised
saying?
you?
I just can't be mad at nobody for being stupid. But again, if you call them niggas coons for meeting with them, then I know you ain't gonna say the same thing about Claude Anderson.
And go back and call all the old black people who was so desperate to perform with white clubs.
You had to call had to call Dr. King a coon. Lyndon Johnson.
But I would say that, I mean, also we can't have, that's not an apples to apples comparison because of the time frame that they were in and the constraints that they were under. So to ask for, you know what I'm saying, at that time, you know, Eartha Kitt, back to your point, or even Dr. King or whoever they met with at that time, there was no other avenue.
No, well,
but you had some cats
Dr. King is different. But as far as Eartha Kitt and the Dorothy Dandridge and all that, they were plenty of black clubs. Ray Charles and people like Ray Charles who refused to play the white clubs were still making their money. Okay. And Ray Charles until they stopped treating me like a nigga, I'm not playing at their clubs. So they had.
Well, I would say another thing. You know, maybe why do we shouldn't call
different?
I'm
you
sorry.
Go ahead.
Maybe like even when we're speaking on black owned businesses or anything, maybe we shouldn't give it a negative connotation. I think was the wrong thing to call it as the chitlin. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because that in my head gives the negative.
That's nasty.
Exactly.
Right. You're like, that's nasty.
So maybe because words do matter.
Yeah. We should.
Packaging does matter. Yeah. Maybe moving forward, that's what we need to do. I mean, because like they've done a great thing. Like anything that is associated with black is considered bad. It's a negative thought process. So we have to change that whole dichotomy around. I have to really press forward because I mean, I'm just thinking this out of my head. I haven't really thought about this all the way through, so I'm stumbling a little bit. But I think that's something that we can attack as well, even with all you gentlemen with your businesses and taking that into thought that we have to change that whole mindset. When people
absolutely.
How do we change that mindset? One thing we got to stop doing is, like he said, you got to quit calling everybody coon because they do something you don't like.
I mean, that would be
that's a good start to try to unify.
But I was speaking specifically to just like on the business side though. Yeah. Like I think the first step would be, you know what I'm saying, just really trying to not control, but like getting your story out there and controlling your message.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a first step. I think.
Have you on there?
Let me ask y'all, and this would even be dope for even some of the viewers of the video. You know, to even kind of create a dialogue in the comments and everything. If it came up, would you meet with Donald Trump or not? If you say, "Hey, I want you to come meet so we can talk about what's going on," he had whoever call you up.
Like we said, I would have to get in contact with somebody that's smarter than me.
So you would.
Yeah, but I gotta be with somebody.
Me and boys will go up there.
Right. I'm like, hey boys, he want to meet. You available?
Got a couple seats at the table for my boy.
So
bringing people.
So with that said, I think we all agree that is not Cooney. You just need to do it a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, like I said from the beginning, I think it was considered Conan because of the I don't give a damn about slavery and the Paula Deen instance.
But they called everybody else that.
Yeah,
too.
I know, but I think Steve got shit on because of that.
I agree.
You know
I agree. But even with Jim Brown, niggas was like, Jim Brown fell off. Oh my God, Hill done froze over.
But Jim Brown
off.
made a statement saying that white people were the most impactful people in his life.
That came later,
You know what I'm
but
saying?
that
When
Jim hurt me. When he's like, I fell in love with Trump.
He pissed me off, and I fell in love with Trump. That's what pissed me off about
me
him.
too. He was very
That
poor
was the only
choice
thing.
of words.
And then he tried to clean it up, saying it was the Reverend Scott, and I'm that dude, Daryl Scott. I'm not a big fan of his at all.
Yeah, he need to get drugged out here.
I saw him at Giant Eagle about two months. I started to really. It took me everything in me. I was like looking at him like, man, this dude.
Right.
Oh, the uppercut your ass. Oh, the uppercut your ass.
You know what would have been dope though? No cameras around, no publicity. You know, hey man, what's up? Hey, you so and so, right? And just, hey man,
Dialogue.
What's up with your mindset, B? Or however you want to word it. It ain't got to be hostile. It ain't got to be negative experience because they'll get defensive. But, oh man, what are you thinking about?
Like, you called me a coon.
Is this?
What angle you coming from, dog?
But see, like I said, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the guy. I just saw him. And everything I see on TV, maybe I should have done that. But then I thought, from what I've seen on TV, it would have escalated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It wouldn't have been a good.
It wouldn't have been a good comment because he's not going to receive.
No, because
He's gonna be defensive.
He just said, I wish they would say that in my face. He just said that.
So he's not going to receive that. Like, I mean,
I think moral of the
Just be a question.
story is
Just, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
People like, look, my nigga,
Fuck
I'm just
wrong
trying to
with
get
you?
this paper. Now leave me alone.
And if that's what
And I can respect that. I'll be like,
okay.
I couldn't respect it.
You throwing all your people under the bus, and I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'm gonna walk the fuck away.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that we ain't gotta be.
just
see what I'm
some
saying?
discomfort. But I think moral of the story, black people need to stop judging people based off of their words. Stop giving character assessments based off of fucking conversation.
Oh, I agree.
You know what I
with
mean? Like, especially a conversation
actions.
with a politician.
15 minutes.
When you come out, be like, look, we talked.
And leave it at that.
You know what I'm saying? We had a good talk. Now we have to see what happens from the talk.
Yep.
Don't.
That would have been a nice little thing.
But yeah, that's all you need. If he'd have said that, I don't think he would have got the same amount of coon. Now, of course. No,
it would have, but it would not have been the
it
vitriol.
wouldn't have been as bad if he said, we talked. I told him what I feel like we should see, but that's just words. We'll see what he
happens.
actually does.
Exactly.
I know the smarter people wouldn't have been shitting on him.
I agree.
You can always have dumb people.
It would have been a fake woke community.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. But the smarter people would have been like, that's real. You know what I'm saying? But the smarter people who shitting on him, he already gave him 2 slaps. And then you got this little shit, and it looks opportunist, just like Paula Deen did. You know what I mean? Just like the other statement did. And so that's where you got to, your integrity is being